right now, we clearly have two powerhouses in the Eastern Conference, the Boston Celtics and the Milwaukee Bucks. Last year, even if you didn't necessarily believe in Philly like myself, we essentially had three, with Harden and Joel Embiid reaching new dominant heights as a duo. Last night, we got to watch the debut of Dame in Milwaukee versus Philly. And instead of enjoying what should be two season openers for two contenders, two of the most recent MVPs, four of the most dominant players of our era, we had to hear about James Harden getting denied entry to the team's plane, really because of all the drama surrounding this man going back to last Christmas. Now, James Harden being in any type of drama, especially as of late, really isn't new, and unfortunately it seems to be defining such a dominant career. Like 2 months ago, I made a video about certain star players' careers ending pretty weird, and without a doubt, James Harden's is ending the strangest to me. 2 years ago, I made a video about one of my past favorite players' careers being kinda left behind. You could clearly see D'Lo's name, buzz, and hype die after injuries, inconsistent play, and really new faces taking his spot. And now, on a much higher level, for much more dramatic reasons, it feels like James Harden is getting similar treatment, and his is worse because of who he is and what he's been to the NBA for the past decade. Today's video is sponsored by Manscaped. Throughout the past year, I've talked to you guys a lot about Manscaped's Lawnmower 4.0, and now, like they always do, they're taking it to a whole new level. Today, I'm excited to introduce you guys to their new and improved Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra. This one comes with two interchangeable skin-safe blade heads and a skin-safe foil blade that you can attach to leave you with the slickest, smoothest trim. Also, and probably my favorite new feature, is the innovative LED light this now includes. Their brand new dual temperature feature is carefully designed to accommodate different skin tones. We're all different, and they cater to that. And let's not forget the most convenient part. It's still waterproof, so you can go crazy in the shower. If you want to try the new Lawnmower 5.0 for 20% off plus free international shipping, click the link in my description box below or use my promo code SWISH at checkout. That's 20% off plus free international shipping with my promo code SWISH, only at manscaped.com.
NBA doesn't need him.
We're here.
The NBA doesn't need him no more. So the way, and I'm all for player empowerment, all of us are for player empowerment, but he forced his way out of Houston, forced his way out of Brooklyn, now he's trying to force his way out of Philly. Like, at some point, everyone's gonna be and he's got so much talent and a lot of game left, could talk himself out of the league with his talent, which is crazy to think.
It's funny about our relationship. It was an honest one. I'll tell you that. It's probably why I'm doing TV. Right now.
The 76ers in general, they just feel fucked. Let's be real. In the past 5 seasons, they've had one of the most dominant players in the league, a perennial MVP candidate centered around drama. Joel Embiid basically had to watch Jimmy Butler leave and eventually make 2 NBA finals. He watched Ben Simmons, his once co-star, drag that franchise through a bunch of unnecessary mess. He's had 3 head coaches in this time frame. And what does he really have to show for it? He's never made a conference finals, and he really just has individual awards that seem to backfire against him and his reputation. No other superstar, especially of that caliber, even LeBron, nobody's gone through that much uncertainty and drama with little to nothing to show for it. At least LeBron, in the midst of the last 5 years with the Lakers, he has a championship and a conference finals to at least show it was worth it. Joel Embiid literally has nothing. This season and the year just began. It hasn't changed at all, and fortunately that kind of works in James Harden's favor. Right now, the 76ers know they're in a transition period where they basically have to waste a season of Joel Embiid's prime. Joel Embiid, as dominant as he is, we know he's very injury prone, and this is his last year left in his 20s, and unfortunately, it's like a duplicate of his 2021 season. He starts the year out with an uncertain roster and all this drama. He puts up MVP numbers in the midst of everything going on. Philly eventually makes a move, but they don't really go far. That's exactly what happened in 2022, and it feels identical to right now. Bro, Giannis complained and damn near threatened to leave Milwaukee when he felt like the team got a little stagnant 2 years after winning a championship. How does Joel Embiid feel? This does work in James Harden's favor to me because it does add another layer of pressure to Daryl Morey and Philly. They have to keep Joel Embiid happy. Not only does Daryl Morey have to end this circus, but he has to do it in a way that keeps Philly afloat and gives Joel Embiid a chance to at least win a championship in the near future. Last summer, James Harden got a lot of praise. He took less money. They brought in different pieces to help fill out that roster. And I guess he was in hopes that he'd get paid this summer when he became a free agent. Well, that didn't happen. Even after that great regular season last year, James Harden just didn't have much of a market, and Philly saw it and used it as leverage. Last Christmas, it feels like James Harden tried to use Houston as a little bit of a ploy. He possibly can go back to Houston for a lot of money. But Houston got Ime Udoka and ultimately didn't want him. After that option was essentially cut and Philly didn't want to give him a deal, if he wanted that long-term money that he obviously wants, his only option was to opt into that contract and request a trade. But nobody really wanted him. It's no secret that he wants to be traded specifically to the Clippers. But unfortunately for him, they don't seem desperate to get him, and they seem to be okay with letting the situation play itself out. Getting James Harden to me is clearly a positive, but they're still a pretty talented, loaded team, and I'm not quite sure how much he really moves the needle. Now, what does work in James Harden's favor to me is the Clippers' crazy injury history. We know that team is notorious for getting injured at like the worst possible times, and that's really derailed their potential. If that trend continues, which is likely, that gives them more incentive to go out and apply pressure to bring in a James Harden. What works against James Harden is nobody is going out their way to make a deal for him at this specific stage of his career. Even the Clippers, obviously. He's not the easiest player to play with. He's older now. He's on the last year of an expiring contract, and he's made it very clear where he wants to be. This whole thing is clearly about money for James Harden, which is understandable. But again, it just doesn't work well in his favor. James has to be moved before the trade deadline, or his career will really take a turn. The 76ers own his bird rights currently, and if he's not traded by February 8th, which is the trade deadline, they keep him. I'm not saying he's wrong for it, but this man wants a max deal with somebody else, likely a contender. And the only way he gets that is if he's traded within the next few months. If he's not traded within that time frame, that bag likely goes away. Contenders will likely be over the cap, and they won't be able to afford him with Philly owning his bird rights. The only teams that will be rebuilding teams. And why would they want James Harden? They won't. This is why this situation is so ugly and tough for all sides. And now it's pretty much a waiting game. And here's the thing for James Harden. Yes, he's productive. I think everybody knows that. But is he really worth it? Nick Wright on First Things First, he showed this graphic of James Harden last playoffs, and honestly, it was very fascinating to look at. Last year, James Harden had two of the greatest, most significant playoff games of his career, two of the best games I've ever seen him play. Game 1 and Game 4 against Boston. Outside of those two incredible games, he really wasn't that good in the postseason. I'm not saying you have to do that every game, but those are two extremely high highs combated by like 10 extremely underwhelming lows. Like I said in my last video, to me, it's really just a bunch of drama, ultimately with the exact same ceiling for Philly. If they lose James Harden, I still believe they're getting to the second round. If they keep James Harden, I don't think they're getting out the second round. Yes, James Harden may have been duped to some extent with promises that weren't fulfilled, but he did have that contract offer with Brooklyn, similar to the one KD signed, and that would have sealed the rest of his prime financially, and he didn't take it. He bet on himself, trusted obviously the wrong people, and now he's in another drama-filled situation, and it's tough. Now, I'm not sure if he's ever going to be able to recoup that money, and it seems like the NBA collectively is humbling James Harden. If you guys like this video, make sure you guys like this video. Hopefully this situation can end relatively quickly because it's drawn out. And to me, I'm just over it. Make sure you guys follow my social media sites, turn on post notifications, do all that great stuff, guys. And until next time, as always, stay tuned.